it's Nat here, and I wanted to share something really cool with you guys that happened to me recently when I was in Chicago at the Empower Network event. And you know, for some of you, you might have heard about Empower Network. If you're on my list, obviously I've been emailing you about it. This email is not trying to get you in Empower Network, okay? But I do want to mention that, you know, one of the things that people see with Empower is, you know, that it's an incredible way to make a lot of money, and it is. But the thing is, it's a lot more than that. And in fact, this story that I want to share with you is something that I experienced and I learned from in an exercise. And it's something that, you know, has really been with me for the last probably 25 years. And it's something that I thought I had sort of come to terms with, and obviously I hadn't. And I want to share that with you because I know that there's a lot of people watching this video that have had, you know, similar occurrences in their life, and maybe they're sort of still left, you know, unfinished, I guess, and you know, maybe that they're still causing some, you know, issues for you in your life. And I guarantee that, you know, if this isn't you specifically, you know someone that's gone through this same sort of thing. And you know, one of the things I really like about Empower Network is it really, you know, allows you to become a better person and you know, grow into the leader that, you know, you're meant to be, but also to help you work through some of your shit, which in this case is exactly what we're going to talk about. Now, this is probably the most personal video I've ever shot, if not, you know, the second one. There's another one I can think of that might rival this one, but either way, this is something that's really personal to me, and I want to share it with you because, you know, I think that you might be able to learn something from it. And so basically, you know, I'll back up and tell you a little bit of the backstory here without getting into too much and stuff because I do value your time. But when I was young, when I was about 11 or 12 years old, my mom actually left. We were living in Kamloops. She moved to Vancouver to go to school for a couple of years. And through that, I think she sort of found her independence. And she eventually ended up actually leaving our family and you know, left my father to raise myself and my two older brothers. Now, you know, obviously at the time it really hurt me, and I think that I sort of harbored a lot of anger towards my mom for a number of years. Now, I do want to say that my mom is very loving, she's very supportive, and I do love her greatly, but sort of deep down, you know, in my subconscious, I, you know, there's obviously some feelings towards her. You know, because at the time, you know, our house was paid off. We were living a fairly comfortable life, you know, definitely not upper class, but, you know, we were getting by and we were able to do a lot of the things that, you know, families would like to do. And when she left, of course, you know, my dad had to, you know, buy her out of, you know, her half of the house, and just being a single parent raising 3 kids, which I'll be honest with you, we were pretty difficult kids to raise. My oldest brother was schizophrenic. My middle brother, who I, you know, looked up to like crazy, he started getting into a lot of trouble, I think given the situation, and then I basically followed suit. So, you know, my dad did the best job that he could, and anyway, you know, like I said, I started, you know, having anger towards my mom, and you know, I've realized over the years that you know, I am very quick sometimes to lose my temper with my mom, and I think even as a result, just lose my temper in general. And I've sort of realized, you know, that I do have some anger inside, and why is that? And even more recently, within the last probably 3 months prior to going to Chicago, I was really struggling as far as being productive in my business, and I actually was probably the most unproductive I've ever been. And what I found interesting with that is because I knew everything that I needed to do, but something mentally was holding me back. And about a week before I went to Chicago, I was thinking, you know, why is it that I'm just not being productive? You know, I mean, I know everything I need to do, but for some reason, I'm not doing it. And so anyway, I went to Chicago, and on the very last day, which, I mean, the whole event was incredible, but on the last day, David Wood, who's the co-founder of Empower Network, and I mean, I just look up to him. I think he's an incredible guy. He was doing an exercise with us. You know, what's interesting is that I've already done this exercise once previously at the event in Austin, Texas. 3 months prior, but also once on the phone on a live call that we have every Monday night. And so I kind of knew what to expect, but I thought, you know what, if I'm here, I want to go through the motions. I want to do, I want to sort of give it my all, just because you never know what might be able to come of it. And I definitely recommend and I challenge you to do this exercise. You can do it by yourself, but it would be beneficial to have someone sort of go through the steps with you. And so basically, I want you to sort of, put yourself, maybe close your eyes for a second and sort of try to envision what, what I was experiencing here. But there were 5,000 people in the theater, and David asked us all to close our eyes. And he basically asked us, what are your goals? Okay, and of course, shout them out to, the audience. And so, a lot of people are saying, I want to make 10 grand a month, or I want to make 30 grand a month, or whatever their income goal was. And for me, it's I want to make $30,000 a month. Now, once you have that answer in place, the next step is, well, what is that going to do for you? So, what, once you hit your $10,000 per month mark, or your $30,000 per month mark in my case, what's that going to do for you, right? And you do this a number of times, and the whole point, of course, is to really get deep down into your core the reason and your why for doing whatever it is you want to do in in your home-based business, if that's the case, or just in life. And like I said, because I'd already gone through this a couple times before, I kind of knew what to expect, and I knew that going deeper, that I was going to come up with the answer. Something along the lines of, so I can help humanity and I can help inspire others and those types of things, right? So, let's just kind of go through the steps. So if I'm making $30,000 a month, that's proof to people that, that being in business for yourself works, that obviously being in Empower Network, in Empower Network works, that, the other people can do it as well, and to inspire other people to become the leader, to help myself feel better about myself because I'm helping other people, to help myself be fulfilled because I'm inspiring other people to change their lives, and so on and so forth, right? But what was interesting is that this time something came up in me, this thought, and as soon as I thought this thought, I felt a wave come over my body, and it was like whoosh, like it literally was a wave of tingliness all over my body. And obviously, yeah, I don't get those kinds of feelings all the time, and when I did, I thought, okay, there's something there, okay? And the thought was this. The thought was, if I can do all these things, if I can make $30,000 a month, and if I can inspire people, and if I can help other people change their lives and live a life of pure freedom, all these types of things, if I can do that, I'll be finally worthy of the love of my mother, okay? Now again, I want to back up and just say, I know my mom loves me. She's been very supportive of me, and she tells me she loves me all the time. But here's the thing is that deep down, in my subconscious, from, when I was 11, 12 years old and my mom decided to leave us, which, we've talked about since. Actually, I came home, and this is jumping forward a little bit. My mom came over, and we talked about it for an hour, and we had an incredible talk about this, right? And let me back up for a second here, because I knew that something was up there, okay? I knew that I still had some unfinished business with my mom, even though we've talked about why she had to leave before, and it was for her own personal reasons, which I'm not going to get into in this video, but she had to do what she had to do, and I applaud her for it, and I'm very proud of her that she did, although obviously at the time it's it made me hurtful and angry and all these types of things, because let's face it, when you're that age, when you're 11, 12 years old, you don't know how to deal with these types of things. And so anyway, after this exercise was over, I bumped into two friends of mine, Chris and Chris. Chris is a male good friend of mine now from France, who I've actually met a couple times, and we've shared hotel rooms at these events. And then there's a female Chris, who actually lives in the States, but she's of Filipino descent. And we had really connected on this trip as well, and she had shared some really personal stuff with me. And so anyway, I saw Chris immediately after, and I said, hey, you guys, that last exercise that we did here, what were your thoughts on that? Because something really big came up for me, and I told them what my thought was, which I just told you, as far as still having unworthiness, I guess, in the eyes of my mother as far as what I was thinking. And the female Chris, she said one word to me, and it's, you know, obviously because that she had gone through something similar in her own life, and so she had already recognized the feelings and those types of thoughts. And she said one word to me, and I started bawling like a little schoolgirl instantly. And it's because, you know, what she said, this one word, was exactly what it was that, you know, was causing me to have these feelings about my mom. And the word she said to me was unforgiveness. Okay? Now, like I said, I've talked to my mom once, probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, you know, about her leaving and stuff. But the thing is, I never forgave her for it, right? And when we leave things, especially things so big like that, that obviously have a massive impact on our lives, you know, when we leave things like that unforgiven, that there's a lot of emotion that we can, you know, continue to harbor and sort of, you know, push it down, deep down. And so, you know, I had this huge cry, like I said, and what was funny after, you know, I don't know, it was a minute or two, but Chris and Chris were both hugging me and consoling me and stuff. And once I sort of, you know, regained composure, the first words out of my mouth were, "Now I'm ready to go make $1 million." Okay, so isn't that kind of interesting, right? That, you know, that the reason I'm sort of self-sabotaging myself, or I was, I should say, was, you know, because I didn't feel worthy in the eyes of my mother of the success that I know I can have, right? You know, because I know exactly what to do. I've already had success, you know, in this area and other areas of my life, but something mentally was holding me back. And so anyway, as soon as I got home the next day, because I got home at, you know, about 1:30 in the morning after flying to Seattle and driving home to Vancouver, I called my mom, and she came over the next day, and we had an incredible conversation. We talked about it in great detail, and I was actually finally able to forgive my mom, okay, to really look her in the eyes and say, "I forgive you," okay, because what she had to do back then was something that she had to do for herself, okay. Now, I'm not going to go into all the reasons for that, but again, I'm very proud of my mom for making that decision to do what she had to do, okay, and it was very difficult for her. And what's interesting is the following day after this is that I called up my dad, and of course he lives in another town, and we had an hour-long Skype call. And, you know, my dad and I love each other. I have a great deal of respect for my dad, but we also don't talk a lot about personal things like this. And we had what was probably the best and most, you know, in-depth and honest conversation we've probably ever had. And so, you know, these two incredible conversations I had with both of my parents were as a result of this exercise at the Empower Network event. And what's cool is I now feel closer than ever to both of my parents. I am now able to put, you know, that anger and, you know, all that resentment that I had towards my mom, to put that behind me and move on to be even more successful than I am now. And, you know, another lesson I want to share with you because of all of this is, you know, we all have self-limiting beliefs in our head, okay? You know, we all tell ourselves that, you know, sometimes I'm not smart enough, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm too fat, I'm this, I'm that, whatever it is, it's all bullshit, okay? Because we're always, you know, the worst, you know, judges on ourselves. And the thing is, I'm a very confident person. You know, and this is not, you know, to brag or whatever, but I'm usually pretty good at most everything that I set out to do. And you know, you know, I'm obviously very talented in certain areas, not in everything, of course. But I know that I have inside of me what it takes to be, you know, incredibly successful. And yet, with all of that being said, something way deep down in my subconscious is telling me that I'm not worthy of success because of my mother left, you know, myself and my other brothers and my father, you know, 25 years ago, okay? So, you know, sometimes on the surface we have these surface level self-limiting beliefs, but often we have, you know, a lot of bullshit going on way, way deep down in our minds. Okay, so I would, you know, challenge you to, you know, look yourself in the mirror and realize what is it that's holding you back. Okay, and some of the stuff is going to be super easy to see, you know, some of the surface level stuff, right? You can, you know, you're very aware of the fact that you're talking down to yourself and you believe these negative things. Okay, and those ones are going to be a little bit easier to address. But a lot of the times we have this really deep down, you know, thoughts that maybe we've pushed away, whether it's, you know, 5 years, 10 years, or 25 years like it has been in my situation. But I just want you to know that, I mean, I feel so great about releasing this and actually being able to forgive my mother and, you know, become at peace with it. You know, and like I said, it was difficult. It was extremely difficult for her to do what she had to do, but she did it, and, you know, she's happy for it, you know, and obviously, you know, my brother and I both still love her tremendously, as well as my father, and, you know, I think we're all better off for it, but, you know, but there's a lot of bullshit that it caused myself, and I'm sure I know my brother the same sort of thing too, that my brother probably still has some hurt there, and whether or not he's dealt with it, you know, I think he might be able to learn something from it, but that's another video right there. But anyway, I really felt, you know, compelled to share this with you on a personal level, because I know that you can benefit from this. Because, I mean, there's so many people who have been a child of a divorced relationship where, you know, your parents leave. And, you know, oftentimes it's because the father leaves. That's, you know, typically what happens in society. In my case, it was my mother leaving. And obviously I had a lot of resentment and anger towards her and hurt. And the fact that 25 years later, I was able to have that pulled out of me through an exercise with David Wood and the Empower Network. And so I'm really grateful for it. I'm really, you know, excited to have, you know, a better relationship now with my mom and my dad because of it, and the conversations that we've since had. And my mom actually called me up last night and told me that she has shared our story with a number of different people in her circles and some of her friends, and a lot of people have gotten a lot of you know, value and benefit from hearing our story and being able to relate it possibly to their own lives. So I think that's really cool. And so what I challenge you to do is to share your story, and you know what, share the personal and sometimes the hardest things to share, you know, in your life. But when you share those, not only are you going to feel better about it, but just know that you might be able to help other people better their lives. And if you can do that, you know, that's really a powerful thing. So anyway, I would love to hear if, you know, if this video has helped maybe bring up some feelings or some questions in your mind. Maybe it's going to help you get through some of the bullshit that you might have either, you know, on the surface level or trapped deep down. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Please share this with others, because I know that what I just shared with you can definitely help others in your life, because, you know, let's face it, so many people go through similar instances, but they just haven't gone through the exercise that might be able to help them release those thoughts that are buried so far deep down. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in another video. And you know, if this is of interest to you, and you'd like to do some, you know, self-exploration, learn to better yourself, and, you know, become a better person, and even make some money through it, then definitely you owe it to yourself to check out Empower Network. And I look forward to working with you and sharing some other cool stuff with you in the future. Thanks for watching.